Here, and Doug, if you can do the roll call.
Chair Holmquist.
Here.
Alder DePula.
Here.
Ms. Fox.
Here.
Mr. Stein.
I'll follow up with you.
Here.
Ms. Fallett.
Here.
Mr. Homburg.
Here.
Mr. Chapman. And Mr. Grice is excused.
All right. Item 3 is an approval of the minutes from January 26, 2026. Randy, hang on. We need a motion for the approval of the minutes from January 26, 2026.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any edits? Seeing none? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes have been approved. There's no change in the order of business tonight. Is there anybody here that wishes to appear on an item that is not on the agenda? We have nobody in the room, and everybody online is for an item. All right. We'll close the appearance section. We can go on to 6A, which is a public hearing for Slinde Realty Investments, represented by Snyder and Associates on a request for a consideration of a certified survey map, CSM, to revise the western property boundary and dedicate 40 feet of right-of-way to the public for the purpose of constructing a new auto repair business. And this is at 1350 Femrite Drive, case number 2009-2024.
And we have a representative online for this.
Is that Brian?
Yes, Brian Alkent.
And Brian, are you able to unmute yourself and give us an overview of the CSM request?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so this CSM got approved over a year ago, so the approval has expired and they didn't move forward with recording the CSM because a potential land buyer backed out. So now they're working with someone new and they're looking to record the CSM. So just bring it back through Plan Commission again. Just a reminder, or for anyone new, the reason for the CSM is the current property line of the lot goes to the center of Copps Avenue, and there's a 40-foot transportation easement. So the CSM is just to clean that up and dedicate that transportation easement as a 40-foot right-of-way dedicated to the public, and shift the property line to where the transportation easement would be along Copps Avenue.
All right. Thank you, Brian. And we can close the public hearing section. We can go on to item B, which is consideration of action for the Slinde Real Estate Investments represented by Snyder and Associates. And this on the request for consideration of a certified survey map to revise the western property boundary and dedicate 40 feet of the right-of-way to public for purpose of constructing a new auto repair business at 1350 Femrite Drive, case number 29-2024. Doug.
Not too much else to add from what the applicant provided, just a little bit more specifics in terms of its 9,400 square feet of easement area, proposing to release that 40-foot transportation easement. The CSM was approved by both recommended by Plan Commission, approved by City Council, and the CSM was not recorded within the required 12-month period, and therefore must receive further approval. I did coordinate with the city's Public Works Director. This cleared Public Works Committee back in 2024. Given there were no changes, he was comfortable with this proceeding without further review. And with the Land Division Ordinance update that has since taken place, this can be considered in one meeting and then would be potentially one meeting at City Council. As far as lot area, it would still be 1 3/4 acres in size. Frontage along Copps Ave would be over 235 feet. And you may recall that there's a auto collision repair store that's looking to come through actually at the March Plan Commission meeting for consideration of action. So with that, recommendation is Plan Commission recommendation to City Council for approval of the CSM with the 3 conditions listed.
All right. Are there any comments from the folks or a motion? Chris?
Comment. I don't have any issues with the CSM. A little bit on procedure. Normally, we would see Veerbecker's comments, and they're right up before we would approve it, and we base it on that. In one of the recommendations for conditions, it says that any edits to satisfy comments made by Veerbecker can be done by staff. Well, we're kind of giving up our oversight when we say something like that, so I would suggest I make it really muddy and say any minor edits, because if they had something major there, it should go through Plan Commission before we make a recommendation to the council.
Doug?
If I may, just an update, since the staff report was written, I did have Vibeke just look at this, basically the updated version against the one that the letter was previously provided for. No changes were made, it was really just updating dates, names, things like that. But I did confirm that it was consistent, so.
You know me though on procedure.
Absolutely, but just so the rest of the commission knows as well, I did confirm that before this consideration.
And the other minor change, instead of saying the applicant shall work with the city attorney, of course, I believe it should be city staff. Attorney's part of the staff, but it will include everybody, including probably main contacts with you. So I'll move approval of condition 1 as written by staff, condition 2 as written, accept change attorney to staff, and condition 3, final staff approval of CSM is required, including any, and insert minor edits to satisfy comments.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, Brian. We can move on to 7A, which is a public hearing on the request by Tallgrass Osteopathic Family Medicine, represented by Revel Properties LLC, for approval of a zoning permit for a new use at 103 Owen Road, and this is case number 2/1/2026.
We have the applicant on Zoom this evening.
And Matt, are you able to give us a brief overview of what you're hoping to do here?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry, I got stuck at work, so
No.
I was in remotely.
Nope, this works out perfect. Yep.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is that on that property, the old Ultimate Salon property, the little house behind there, we've gutted, I guess, taken all the trash out of it, and we're hoping to move in a doctor's office. She's gonna use the first floor for herself, and then she has a couple of partners that are gonna be using the upstairs, like each of the bedrooms for counseling rooms and such. So it actually works out quite nicely. The way the house is set up, they have like a secretary type person that does all the check-in, and then from there, they kind of go throughout the house wherever their appointment is.
All right. Is there anybody else here for the public hearing section? There's nobody in person.
I see one individual online. I didn't receive registration or anything, but I guess this would be the chance if, Andy, I see you're online. If you would like to speak on this item, please let us know now.
No, I'm a law student watching it for on the side. I have no offense.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, hopefully
Sustained.
we do well for your assignment for you. So, all right.
Doing great so far.
Okay, great. All right, we will close 7A and move on to 7B, which is a consideration of action on a request by Tallgrass Osteopathic Family Medicine, represented by Revel Properties LLC, for approval of a zoning permit for a new use at 103 Owen Road, case number 2/1/2026. Doug.
Thank you. So the request this evening is a consideration of a new zoning permit. This is 103 Owen Road, direct primary physician care to clients. This would be on an appointment basis, with typical office hours being Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., potentially some hours outside of that if needed based on the clients. Expected to serve between 5 and 40 people daily, with occasional small group presentations, but capped at no more than 15 people. Typically 3 employees in the clinic throughout the day, and this shares the parcel and owner with the Forward Pharmacy building to the east at 5711 Monona Drive. Zoning for this property is retail business, characterized by retail, trade, service, office, financial and professional, ancillary residential and entertainment activities serving the community. The zoning permit this evening is required for the new use. Comprehensive plan lists this as commercial use in both current and future land use, and was most recently occupied by a yoga studio. There are no proposed modifications to the existing site or circulation, and this site will most likely be predominantly using the curb cut on Owen Road. As far as parking standards, medical, dental, and optical clinics shall provide 1 parking stall for every 300 square feet of gross floor area, and this space is 1,800 square feet, necessitating 6 stalls. The parking lot here at 103 Owen, the materials state there are 35 stalls, and then there are another 9 stalls sort of shared with the 5711 Monona Drive property. even just accounting for the 35, that should certainly be more than sufficient. A couple points of note there. I think there's some signage that could potentially do with being updated, just in terms of previous business uses and things like that. Otherwise, the lot was deemed to be in good condition. There are no significant building modifications, especially to the exterior, that are proposed. Some interior HVAC and things like that are proposed. The material state, also the exterior landscaping will be cleaned up. The hours of operation seem to be complementary with adjacent tenants and appear appropriate. And with that, recommendation is approval of the zoning permit with the 4 conditions as listed.
All right. Any questions or concerns? Chris?
Question, Matt, there's a biohazard placard on the side door. What's that about?
It's the
They do a lab collection. So like if they take labs for a patient,
Okay.
they put them in there and then somebody comes to grab them like once a day or a couple times a day or a couple times a week.
Okay.
All right.
As far as parking, I think the parking's more than adequate right now, depending on the final uses in the building, but more than enough for what they need. Certainly not the demand that it was with the hair salon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If there are no other specific questions, we can go to a motion.
I move approval with recommendations as written by staff.
Second. All right. Any further questions, clarifications? You're all good, Doug? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 7C, which is a public hearing on the request by Revel. Heated Pilates, represented by Walter Wayne Development, for approval of a zoning permit for new use at 5103 Monona Drive, and this is case number 2/2026. You can come up, introduce yourself, and then just give a brief overview of what you're hoping to do, and then we'll move on to the next item.
Good thing I made you stand on the front row until you were up.
I'll start by saying I'm Robert Proctor. I'm the general partner for the entire project. And the one thing I'd like to say is that you all were pretty prescient when you did the rezoning for the project, because originally the zoning we had requested wouldn't have allowed for the commercial use, but you rezoned it to allow for a commercial use in the hope that there may be some commercial use that we could find. And here we are.
That's always a pretty good way to start a presentation. Tell us how smart.
I know. So, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us this evening. My name's Randy Christensen with Walter Wayne Development. As we stated, with the property on Monona Drive, just up the street, our 48-unit apartment building. The name of it is called Mira, M-I-R-A, is the name of the building. A 48-unit apartment project with 63 stalls of parking, within the building. We have about a little over 1,000 square feet that we divided with our fitness area. Fitness is about 1,000, and this other use is potentially would have been about 1,000. And Cassidy Winkler, the owner of Revel Pilates. This is not her first project that she's done. She's also, ironically enough, in one of the buildings that we owned on Park Street. She's operating a pretty successful operation there. That's a larger operation at that location. So we're here in front of you tonight to gain approval for the zoning to allow the Revel heated Pilates that will be in this heated Pilates. Yes, Revel heated Pilates in this particular space. We have gone through quite a bit of iterations of planning and so forth with our team, McGann and so forth, and Cassie obviously has been a huge help with all that in terms of what's going in the space and the logistics of it. I'm sure you'll ask a little bit about parking, Mr. Homburg. So what we're doing is within the lease, They will have 3 designated stalls within the project for staff, for her staff. And then with our system that we've got with the garage doors, there's a touchpad that we have on the outside that they can touch and call her space because it's got a direct intercom, thank you, intercom to the space, and they can punch and let them in, and then they will escort that particular person into the area. So they will either have the option of, you know, whatever available street parking there is, which is allowed by city signs, obey those particular signage, or they would have the option of being able to come into the building and park their vehicles inside there. So I'll let Cassidy speak on the business aspect of it, but I think from a parking standpoint, I think we got covered what we need to do in terms of people getting in and getting out in the covered areas. And we're also working on a digital key as well. We're working on that as well. We don't know, we were a little bit farther along on our project when this sort of came up. It could be another option for us.
Hi, my name's Cassidy Winkler. So I own Revel Method Pilates. We're down in Lake Geneva, now Park Street, and then we'll be here at the Mira. I've also been working with Randy and the team on some other projects within the Mira, so I'm pretty familiar with the layout, been there a few times. Basically heated mat Pilates, so no reformers or apparatuses inside of this space. It's just going to be mat based. It's a smaller, much smaller space, much smaller operation. Maximum probably 2 staff on at one time, so that's where we also have that extra parking spot kind of built in that we planned for when we discussed parking, and that kind of situation got brought up a few weeks ago. We kind of wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to be an issue. We added a little bit more storage space into the unit, so that way we would have a little bit less on the occupancy. It did not affect any of our numbers, so we weren't worried about that on that sense, but made sure that we weren't going to have too many people in the space at one time. We built out our schedule, so there's a minimum of 30 minutes. It's actually technically 40 minutes in between at most between our classes. That's for cleaning purposes. We want to make sure that everything's sanitary. There's a lot of sweat in a heated room, so big gaps there. So you'll never have at our other studio we have people coming and going very quick because our classes are back to back, versus here we'll have a bigger gap, so there won't be that overlap of parking. We talked about the parking situation underneath with the key fobs. We're membership based mostly, so 61% of our revenue comes from recurring memberships, so that's something that we can add in. When they join with membership, they get that code or that entry, and then they can come in and use that underground parking. So that'll be kind of a perk, but also something that once you're on a membership you would know. Versus we also will do drop-ins, so we can continue to obviously bring in class pack people that want that flexibility. So that's our revenue model. We stick around the 61% right now at both studios, so that's pretty solid on our recurring revenue. We do 3-month, 12-month contracts. So yeah, questions on heated Pilates? They've learned a lot about Pilates that I'm sure they didn't want to know.
All right, seeing nobody else here for the public hearing section, we'll close that and we'll move on to item 7D, which is consideration of action on the request by Revel Heated Pilates, represented by Walter Wayne Development, for approval of a zoning permit and new use at 5103 Monona Drive, and this is case number 22-2026. Doug.
Thank you. So zoning permit request this evening for the Mira building at 5103 Monona Drive. This is just over 1,000 square feet of first floor space. This is facing the golf course, facing Monona Drive, and this would leave right around 1,200 square feet for the fitness center. That is sort of the direct tenant amenity. The zoning permit here is required due to the new use and deviation from the originally intended fitness center use. This does seem a little more sort of outward facing than the original approvals, so that's the reason that I'm bringing this forward this evening for Plan Commission consideration. So as mentioned, the property was rezoned during the redevelopment process to Community Design District to allow for sort of the dynamic mix of uses. The proposed use does add that mixed use component to the residential project, to the additional 48 units that are proposed and I believe coming online this spring. As far as the comprehensive plan, this does identify the parcel as commercial use in both in the future land use map. It was also listed. It was previously vacant, so it was listed as vacant within the current land use map. As far as the site design and circulation, no proposed modifications to the site. The access would be There's 2 drive lanes accessing the split level parking off of the north side of the building. Pedestrian access would be via the steps on the eastern side of the building. Just given the grade separation there, just a comment that effective signage and wayfinding will be important. So as far as the parking, as mentioned, there are 63 covered parking stalls within the building, and 60.5 were required per city code for the residential component of the project. There was a finding of fact included within the October 24 approvals, stating that while the fitness center will be open to the public, its primary use is as an amenity to the building. Thus, the commission has granted an exception from the city's parking standards for the proposed use. So as mentioned, just sort of that deviation and that little bit more outward-facing approach from the applicant here is the reason for this consideration. So 3 stalls per the lease will be designated for this. Per city parking standards, we would require 4 stalls at the rate of 1 per 300 square feet. I appreciate this evening getting a little more information about sort of the operation of this in terms of the on-site parking. Also just noting as well, alternative transportation options for this accessible site will be beneficial. Bike racks were included as part of the approvals that will be at grade. Nearby bus options as well as the nearby residential density as well. And then finally, of course, the street parking that does exist along Gordon Avenue, St. Teresa Terrace. Typically this is one-sided, but with some of the restrictions throughout the day and the proposed hours here, there may be a good opportunity for that as well. As mentioned, there's the gap between the sessions as well. Materials take 30 to 60 minutes between classes for transition time. Estimated hours of operations would be from 5:30 to 8 p.m. on weekdays, and then 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. on weekends as well. With that, staff recommendation is approval of the zoning permit with the conditions as listed. Thank you.
All right. Patrick, I'll start down.
Sure. I mean, I've got nothing to really add here. I think it's a great use of the property. I'm glad that you have that commercial aspect in there. I think that was great with trying to fit that in. I like that you're planning on managing the flow with parking and put some real effort in there with scheduling classes. So I think it's great use for the building. Thanks.
I have so many questions about Pilates, but I don't think they're relevant to what we're doing now. No, I think it's a great use. Parking is the only thing, and assuming that all works out and we don't have to see you again, I think it's a great addition to Monona.
John?
No comments. Good luck.
Thank you.
Susan?
I think it's an appropriate use too, and in fact, a positive addition. And my only question is heated Pilates, is that kind of like hot yoga? I mean, is it really high temperatures? Is that what I'm just curious.
We have a warm class style, and then we have like a hot class style. So there'll be like a warmer one that's not going to be at the 95 degrees,
Okay,
so you're not going to be necessarily drenched in there. You might be sweating, but not as bad, but then we'll have hot classes.
Yeah, I was just
Little
curious
mix of
because I
both.
hadn't heard it connected with Pilates before, so
Yeah.
interesting.
Same benefits, but different movements.
Yeah. So, yeah, the only concern I had is the obvious parking one. And I do appreciate the work you've done to think that through, and I think it sounds like a good use, so nothing else.
Great. Kareem?
I think it's a great use as well. I'm excited about it. And I mean, I think some of your residents are gonna wanna join as well. So like there's already parking potentially that's counted or accounted for. So I think it's great.
Chris?
Great use. How many parking stalls, you have a tiered system, right, where you can get into one area but not the other? How many do you reserve for visitors?
So at the lower level, oh geez, Chris. I can't remember the split on it. I think it's like 30 some stalls. Low 30s up above and higher 30s. There's 63 stalls. Actually, there's upper 20s up above and then lower 30s down below in terms of the split of the.
And where is the public access? Is there public access anywhere for visitors, or does it always have to be?
Through the, well, you have to buzz in
So you gotta
the
get
front
buzzed
door.
in.
Yeah, the main lobby, and.
But for parking, like if a car comes, there must be somewhere that can go to get buzzed in, right?
Yeah, there's right one next to one of the main garage door. There's a touchpad on the building that they'll just touch, and
Okay.
you know that would be for tenant potential residents as well. If they have a visitor, mom and dad stopping by, They can punch in a code, they can buzz them in, garage door opens, they go in and park, and then out they go.
So there's no separate area for public or visitors, it's all the same?
Yep.
And are there assigned stalls?
Nope.
Okay.
Except for the Pilates. We'll probably make some assigned stalls there. In all of our projects, we never assign stalls to any resident because somebody parks in someone else's stall and you get all that malarkey. So we just never assign them.
Another question on parking. You still chair Public Works?
I do.
Why do we have no parking 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. there?
Before my time.
Something
Yes.
we should look at as a city. I don't see this as any different than overflow for the one at North Point, where, you know, if we have to have some parking on the road, we don't like to include that in the numbers, but if we have to have a little parking on the road, why are we saying it's okay to park here except during the day when they might be having classes?
Yeah. There's a few streets that have some unusual parking hours, but it's not consistent through the whole neighborhood.
Right.
I would say, especially down Gordon.
Because St.
Like it
Teresa's
changes.
a wide enough road to have some parking. That's what we just talked about. When we talk about traffic calming, that's one of the best ways to calm it is to have parking on that road.
Yeah.
Every day?
Great point.
It's for every day?
No, I think it's just weekdays, 7:30 to 4:30.
Just weekdays.
Yeah,
It's-
would it be related, well, that's
Well,
pretty
it could
far
be
from
related to
student-
school. It
That's
could
why I
be
was thinking student parking.
But
They were trying to-
maybe it's
but
more La
that's-
Follette than MG.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of far from the
It's-
school,
it's
but
pretty
not
far
too
from it.
far when you're looking for parking.
But La
Right.
Follette, it's
That
not
happens too.
that far
Yeah.
from. So I'm just curious if we could look into the history and maybe it would make some sense around here to allow some street parking.
Hopefully the records give us some reasoning why.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can dig through that
Okay.
as a separate issue.
Well, and there were a lot of.
Student parking.
We're not tying into your issue, we'll do it separate.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
And I had one more kind of off the cuff comment, and that would be Andy for you. If you really want to see a real plan commission meeting, maybe in 2 weeks when we have a lot of really meaty issues. If you were looking for one that just is really quick and gets rid of a credit, then this was the one tonight.
Andy, you should have come to our meetings about a year and a half ago.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I gotta attend too, so we'll come back in a couple weeks.
You picked well to have this come for one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
Approval with conditions as recommended by staff.
All right, any edits, questions? Seeing none? Doug?
We need a second.
Good point. We need a
Second.
There we go, John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And
When are
item
you opening?
8A, 1 through 5.
When they finish the building.
Yeah, that's the guy on the left. Wants to get the building done. Really?
All right.
Just
Occupancy when they first.
Just a couple quick housekeeping items. So we'll be having a meeting in 2 weeks. There's 2 items on there, and as mentioned, it will be a longer meeting. So I appreciate people's availability for that, but we will be canceling the March 9th meeting as a result of that. So if there's any scheduling conflicts, please let me know as soon as you can. But otherwise, I'll be assuming that that is okay with the commission. And then the only other item, I did send an email out, and this is for Plan Commission, Council, and CDA. The Bloom is having their grand opening this Wednesday. That is February 11th, starting at 3:30. The developer invited everybody as part of these groups to come to the event. They'll be giving tours. Recognize there's actually a comp plan meeting that day, and potentially a couple other meeting conflicts. So they've also offered, if there is interest, they'll certainly do tours at other dates as well, and I'll be happy to coordinate that. But would encourage you, if you haven't yet been able to take a look over there, either come to this event or we'll schedule something maybe in the spring. But certainly it's worth taking a look. So that's it.
All right. Any questions from the group? Hearing none. Rob,
Move adjournment.
is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.